I'm very pleased to have with us on the program right now, Konnie Couch of Women Armed and Ready. Konnie, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Cam, how are you today?
I am excellent. Thanks for coming on the program. First of all, thank you for what you and your colleague are doing there, you and your colleague Robin Willoughby. It's been less than 6 months since you started Women Armed and Ready, right?
It has been. First meeting was May 6th of 2014. And it's been,
Wow.
been all I can say is, what a ride.
I mean, what kind of growth are you seeing here? First of all, before we even talk about that, tell me, what is Women Armed and Ready all about?
Okay, we're a group that the reason we started was because Robin and I, we're both business owners. We own separate businesses, but they are across the street from one another. Our businesses were robbed, our homes were robbed, and these were all separate incidents. And we live in an extremely small community of only 3,500 people. And it was just within about a 6-month stretch that we had these robberies. And then right before we started the group, Robin's house was broken into, and her and her husband came home from church and walked in on it. And the guy was going out the front door, and of course, he was never caught. But what we decided to do was we knew that as victims ourselves, we needed to find a way to make sure that we were protecting ourselves, and that we knew how we felt because we were going out and trying to find some place to practice, somebody to help us train, other than our husbands. Which we love them to death, but hey,
right,
it just doesn't mix well with couples going to the firing range until you both get to know what you're doing. So we knew that there was a need for this, and because we felt that no woman should ever have to be in the position that we were in. And so we started Women Armed and Ready. We meet twice a month. We have one meeting, we have like a guest speaker, or we'll do some type of educational program, or we'll go over current events. And then the next meeting, we take off and we go to this shooting range, and we have got our NRA instructor with us, and he works with the newbies and the people who aren't real familiar with guns. He works really one-on-one with them. And then the others, he'll set up drills and what have you for us to work on. And we try to keep our training as close to real-life scenarios we possibly can, because we know that, someday that need may arise. And I pray to God that nobody in our group ever has to pull their gun. But
absolutely,
if they have to, they're going to be trained, and trained well. And that's just something that it just wasn't available. And now we're looking at our second chapter. We began our second chapter in Batesville, Indiana, and we've got a meeting in Aurora tomorrow night. We're very privileged to have Tom Sinan from Ohio. He's a top cop, and he's going to come in and discuss how we prepare our minds in order to have to pull the trigger if we need. And then Wednesday night, we're back out of Batesville for our second meeting of that chapter. And it's growing by leaps and bounds. I'm just so amazed. And so is Robin. We just sat here with our jaw dropped like, I can't believe this is happening. But there is such a need, and the women are taking it on themselves to get the training and to get themselves ready in case that day ever comes that they do have to defend themselves.
And as I mentioned, Konnie, I mean, this comes in a time period in which certainly the anti-gun groups, and I think the media, not just the news media, but the TV shows. Apparently, there was an awful episode of CSI with Ted Danson last night, where he's talking about AR-15s that shoot 700 rounds a minute. We've seen this huge push over the past couple of years to demonize and otherize gun owners in general, and particularly women who own guns. So what is it? What's driving these women to turn out at an event of yours and to decide that they want to explore gun ownership to see if it's something that's right for them?
What they tell us is they are tired of feeling that they have to be the victim. I mean, it's statistically showing that women and elderly or children are criminals' primary targets. Well, we are in the process now of taking one of those elements away from them, which is the women. We get the women armed and taken care of and get them trained, then that helps take the children out of the equation because the women are protecting the children. Who's the caregivers of the children? It's the women. Most of the women are mothers. We've got more women now living alone, single moms, elderly women. We've got several women in our group that they live alone. They're widowed. They live out in rural areas. And they were scared. They were scared to be at home alone. And they're not anymore. Our oldest member is 83, and I'm real proud of her. She's
83.
83. And our next gal that's 77, she is a Spitfire. Her son is actually a career sheriff deputy, and he begged not for her not to get a gun. He said, I think she's too old to have one. And she started out shooting in July, and she started out with a little .22 pistol, and now she shoots a .38 special, and she's really good.
Wow.
She's very competent in her shooting skills.
That's awesome. That is awesome, Konnie. And, that peace of mind, I mean, as you talk about living in a rural area, and I know that you write on your website about heroin arrests going up dramatically over the past couple of years. We're lucky that, and I shouldn't say lucky, violent crime is going down in this country, but it doesn't mean that we're free from violent crime. And we've always had those crimes that have been driven, I think, by drug abusers. The drug of choice may change, but the crimes themselves take place. And if you're in a rural area, more than most, you probably understand that the police are not just a phone call away, that it's going to take time for them to arrive, that you do need to be able to protect yourself. That again, that holds true whether you live in an urban area, the suburbs, or out in the country. But I think folks who live out in the country, they're much more aware of this fact. And the peace of mind, again, that must give that woman, 83 years old, knowing that she can protect herself, that she can take care of herself. And, God bless her. I doubt that martial arts would benefit her that much at this point.
Well, martial arts, that's something. And think of the last word, art. You have to develop those skills early on, and you have to be very well disciplined and practice routinely and keep your body in good shape for it to be really effective in a self-defense mode. With a gun, we can get you pretty, on a more level playing field a whole lot quicker, and you don't have to have that physical ability that you would in a martial arts situation. We had a lady come through one of our CCW classes that was handicapped in a wheelchair, and she did great. But, her husband traveled, so she's home alone quite a bit. And so this was a fantastic way for her to get the knowledge and the skill and be able to practice and feel competent in using her firearm and safe with it, and be able to know that, hey, if something happens, I can protect myself. I'm okay. I don't have to worry about being that victim, or being a statistic, I should say, because that's what ends up happening. These women end up being statistics. And now we're trying to take that away from that particular equation.
Are the women that you're seeing, Konnie, are they, look, clearly, again, they're gun owners. They want to be competent and trained and safe and responsible. Are they activists? What do they think about groups like Mom Demand Action and Michael Bloomberg, really pushing for new gun control laws? Does that tick them off?
We've kind of joked around about that because we're going to start a group called Grandmas for Common Sense. A couple of weeks ago, they had a demonstration in front of the Kroger's corporate office, Kroger supermarkets.
The Kroger, yeah.
Okay, and, because they've got this big thing going on. And, of course, they tried to make it look like there was a lot of people there. Then later that day, they actually showed how many people there. There were 8. I mean, the ladies in our group, they understand that I've been shopping at Kroger's for a good many years. I've never walked in and seen anybody with an AR strapped on their back or wearing a sidearm outside their clothing. And when that very article ran about this, and one with Representative Ron Mag talking about the Second Amendment, there was 2 men from Cincinnati, and I can't believe these 2 men commented like this. They said that they actually felt safer with a criminal with a gun than an armed legal citizen.
Really?
Now,
Really?
What kind of mind? How do you develop that type of a process in your brain that you would feel more comfortable with somebody who is a felon as opposed to somebody who is legally carrying a firearm and has been trained to use that firearm?
That's that's a new one on me, Connie. I'll be honest with you. I can't help you out with that mindset because that just seems like a strange and foreign concept to me.
That's just one of those comments that makes you go, "Wow, really?"
Right. Well, but those comments, I think those comments, though, as you say, most people look. I mean, most people hear that and think, "Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?"
Well,
but this is sort of where
I think that adds more legitimacy to what we're doing.
I do too, and I think that's where the gun control movement is right now.
And it is.
That they are attacking their fellow Americans. They say that we're afraid of everything. They say that we're paranoid, but they're the ones who don't want to go shopping because they're afraid that somebody might be a concealed carry holder and might be next to them. They're the ones who I think are terrified, who imagine that all of their fellow Americans are simply monsters waiting to happen and are criminals that could, turn into armed robbers at the drop of a hat. They're the ones, I think, who are exhibiting that sort of paranoid mentality towards the people that are all around them every day.
Well, the people like the Mothers Who Demand Action and those type of groups and Bloomberg and all, they refuse to look at the root cause of why there are mass shootings and people that, go crazy. It has nothing to do with the gun. It has nothing to do with the legal citizen who gets the permits, who goes out and becomes trained and learns how to use and control that firearm. The root cause in all these things has been a problem with that one individual, and they're not even talking about that. And then they don't even talk about how they're going to control the legal citizen, but they haven't made any type of effort to say what they're going to do about the criminal. I'm not the felon.
I think that happens. Well, first you get rid of the criminals are hard, Connie, because they've had guns for a long time, and so they're not really apt to give them up. So we'll deal with them after we deal with the legal gun owners.
After they come in and kill me and my grandchildren, then we'll deal with that.
Right, exactly.
Or when you let them into the country illegally to go kill police officers, then we'll deal with that.
Connie, listen, unfortunately that music means we're out of time, but thank you for what you're doing, educating women, making sure that they get that.
I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. We'll talk again. Connie Couch joins from Women Armed and Ready.